Ever feel like the smartest person in the room, but also the loneliest? How is it that some of the most promising kids, the ones everyone expected to soar, end up grounded, feeling lost, and strangely disconnected as adults? They were the chosen ones, right? The gifted and talented. But somewhere between childhood accolades and grown-up realities, the script flipped. The praise became pressure, the potential felt paralyzing, and that bright future, it feels distant. Now, they're stuck in the mud. They can't seem to light a fire under their butts. They feel like they're always a step behind in the social game. Starting things? Forget about it. Following through? Even harder. And connecting with others? Like trying to tune into a radio station from another planet. But the kicker? They can't even explain why they're struggling. On the surface, things look good. They're still sharp, capable, intelligent, but inside, there's this gnawing sense of isolation, like life is a movie, and they're stuck watching it from the sidelines. So what gives? Here's the truth bomb. Smart kids often build their whole identity on being, well, smart. And when that happens, the very thing that made them feel special becomes the cage that traps them. Sounds intense? It is. Let's unpack why this happens, and more importantly, how to break free. Because this isn't about failure, it's about a survival strategy that's way past its expiration date. Understand how you got here, and you can absolutely chart a new course. Think back. When we're little, our sense of self is simple. Kids latch onto labels. I like dinosaurs, I'm good at drawing. Bam, identity formed. And one of the most powerful labels a kid can get? You're so smart. Teachers say it, parents beam it, classmates whisper it. It sticks. It gets reinforced. And for a while, it's pure gold. Being smart opens doors. Praise rains down. Life feels like easy mode. You don't sweat studying. You grasp things quickly. You stand out from the crowd. But here's the sneaky downside. The praise isn't usually for hard work. It's for effortless success. You get the gold star for solving the puzzle fast, acing the test without trying, understanding concepts instantly. The message sinks in. If I'm truly smart, things should come easy. That belief, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because what happens when things get tough, when you struggle, when you fail, when you don't understand something right away? It doesn't feel like a normal challenge. It feels like an existential threat. If I'm supposed to be smart, why am I struggling? And so, you start avoiding anything that might expose you. No raising your hand unless you're 100% sure. No games you might lose. No passions you might not excel at immediately. Your world shrinks. You stick to what you already know. You become a master of the familiar, guarding that smart kid image at all costs. But here's the gut punch. While everyone else is out there experimenting, stumbling, and growing, you're stuck in a self-imposed comfort zone. The longer it goes on, the harder it is to leave. And at some point, you realize you've built your entire identity on something incredibly fragile. You can't afford to fail. You can't afford to look foolish. You're protecting an illusion. And so, you stall. That's when the isolation creeps in. Connection comes from shared experiences, being part of a team, going through awkward phases together, grinding towards a goal. But if you're always opting out, avoiding situations where people bond, you miss those crucial moments. You don't join the club because you might be bad at it. You don't try the sport because it's unfamiliar. You ditch group projects because they frustrate you. You remove yourself from the natural flow of social life. But you still crave connection, right? So what do? You double down on what you know, your intelligence. You try to understand people instead of relating to them. You analyze, you observe, you run mental simulations. It's cognitive empathy, understanding what others feel logically, but not engaging with them emotionally. You can navigate conversations, keep up socially, maybe even seem charismatic, but underneath, you're exhausted because instead of just being with people, you're calculating, constantly thinking about what to say, how to respond, what they might be thinking. Socializing becomes another thing you have to be good at, and to avoid failing at that, you start avoiding it altogether. The loneliness deepens. Okay, you think, I'm smart, I can figure this out. So you start applying logic to emotional problems. You try to fix your self-esteem with rationality. You write out arguments to convince yourself you're fine. You overanalyze your own behavior, and it doesn't work. because intelligence wasn't designed to fix emotional pain. It's not a tool for self-worth. It's a tool for solving external problems. Trying to use it to feel okay inside is like trying to hammer a nail with a screwdriver. It just keeps slipping. Emotional growth often gets neglected in smart kids, and when the emotional pain becomes too intense, the ego steps in with one last defense. I'm just different. I don't relate because they're not as smart. I'm too deep for surface-level friendships. Defensive arrogance. Instead of admitting you're lonely, you convince yourself you're above everyone else. Not because you truly believe it, but because it hurts less than admitting you feel left out. It's a wall between you and the world. Even when you crave connection, the wall prevents you from reaching out. Because connection requires humility, presence, vulnerability. So how do we tear down this wall? The first step, and this is non-negotiable, you have to stop identifying as the smart kid. Let that identity go. Not because being intelligent is bad, but because basing your entire self-worth on it is toxic. When your value is tied to how easily you succeed, you'll do anything to avoid effort, failure, and situations that might prove you're not exceptional. You'll sabotage your own progress just to protect the illusion. And eventually, that illusion will crumble. The fix? Build a new identity. Not around being smart, but around being willing to grow. Stop asking, what will make me look intelligent? Start asking, what will help me move forward? Stop protecting your pride. Start embracing discomfort. Let yourself try things and be bad at them. Show up not to win, but to participate. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. It feels like a step backward, but it's not. It's the first real step toward becoming whole. The old identity told you your value came from being special. The new one reminds you that your value comes from being human. And being human means you're allowed to be uncertain. You're allowed to grow slowly. You're allowed to feel lost. You're allowed to not know what the hell you're doing half the time. But the only way forward is to take action anyway. Not perfect action. Not clever action. Just honest, imperfect, human steps forward. Remember, the point isn't to be the smartest person in the room. It's to show up, be real, and be willing to learn. So, if you're someone who feels stuck, numb, or chronically disconnected, if you've spent your life trying to be the smartest person in the room, and now you don't know how to be anything else, this is where you begin. You let go of the story. You stop trying to be impressive. You start trying to be real. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room to belong in it. You just need to be someone who's willing to show up, even when it's hard, even when it's messy, even when it's unfamiliar. If you can do that, if you can stop clinging to the version of yourself that needs to be above it all, you'll start to feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Connection. Not because you earned it, not because you deserved it, but because you were finally willing to step down from the pedestal and into the world where the rest of the people live. And it turns out that world isn't so bad. In fact, it's the only place where you can truly be seen. And more importantly, it's the only place where you can finally feel at home. Does any of this hit home? Are you ready to tear down the walls?